Hey, Mike Healy here, and welcome to another episode of the MLM Podcast. In today's episode, I am going to teach you some really cool stuff about the next level of success because of networking, okay? Now, what I mean by that is that most people, when they join networking, they get all excited. They see the dry erase circles, dry erase board circles. They think they're going to go out there and make $1 million, and then it doesn't happen. And they get very disappointed. In fact, that's why there's so many haters out there, because the reason I've come to believe that there are haters out there is it's not that network marketing doesn't work, because there's too many people I've seen, including myself, that have actually made some decent income with it as well as a living from it. But a lot of times what happens is people quit either too early, or more importantly, they don't understand the part that is the most important, and that is the personal development part. Most networking companies have done well are just a personal development platform with some kind of product attached to it, if you really think about it. So let me go back in time with you. So back in, I think it's right around 1997. So at the time of me recording this is probably me looking at, this is 25 plus years now, that I was introduced to networking. I was in the bar business. I was a bouncer, then bartender and stuff like that, and really, really rough around the edges. And someone invited me to take a look at a network marketing opportunity. Well, next thing you know, I see the last page on this presentation that showed all the money and what you could earn. And then I met some people in the room at this hotel, and it really opened my eyes to what was potentially out there, something completely different than I thought before. So I enthusiastically jump into the thing. Well, then for the first, I think maybe close to 4 or 5 months, I didn't make any money. And so my dreams were starting to get a little dashed already, but I was really fired up about this. I did consistently go every week to these meetings. Not that it wasn't the same presentation every time, because it was, but I was trying to learn it. I was meeting people. I was just kind of becoming associated with some of these guys. I became friends with some of these guys that were doing very well. So let me kind of speed this story up. So that was my introduction. The next thing that the big epiphany that I had, and that you're going to have if you want success, is that you're going to have to get better. Okay. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. You're going to have to take the time to learn the skills, become a better, maybe dress better, smell better, look better, whatever it might be, get in better shape, that kind of thing. But most of the success, a lot of times that you're going to have, is going to come from your level of personal development. Now, that's not going to be good for a lot of people that are listening to this, or you yourself, because you have to take a hard look in the mirror sometimes and say, hey, am I a good person? Do I have the character that people follow, or am I a douchebag? Not to be totally blunt, but if you're running around and all you do is, just make obnoxious posts, you're rude, you cuss all the time, that kind of thing, you're not going to attract the people that are going to take you to the next level. Okay. It's just a fact, because you should know this one by now, is that people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So on the personal development platform, here's what I would highly recommend to get you kind of started. First, you want to identify the people that you see as successful, what they're doing, what they're, how they're modeling their lives and so on. And what I would do and what I did was I would go up to those people, and I would just ask them. I said, what are you reading? Or what have you read in the past? What's your top 5 books that you think have helped you the most? And I'd never read a book besides, I think, John and Spot, or what is it, Mary and Spot, or, Bill and Spot learned to read in 3rd grade. It's the last book I'd read. And here I was about 27 years old, and this was all new to me. All this personal development, completely new. Didn't have any background in business whatsoever. Never went to college, anything like that. So everything that I did, I had to become self-aware of the fact that I didn't know stuff. So I had to humble myself there. And then I had to get on the path of personal development. Now, if we take this a little farther, what happens is you begin to start to learn some of these things, get excited about your business and so on, but you have to take the knowledge. So you start to read, you start to listen to audios. Obviously we can do that in today's day and age so much faster now with the, obviously the internet and podcasts and so on. But you start listening to some of this stuff, you start doing, reading it, but then the next most important thing is you have to start to apply it. Okay. Now, I will give you a little warning right here, because this is another thing that holds people back, is so many people are concerned about what their quote unquote peers will say if they make mistakes or something doesn't work, that in most cases, people don't even try. I'll tell you this, you had better grow a pair if you're a dude. I don't know what you would say it to a lady. Sorry if you're a woman listening to this or watching this. But you better get some guts and understand that if the way I always looked at it is, if you ain't paying my bills, I don't really care what your opinion is, to be honest. That it's all coming down to me, right? If it's going to be, it's up to me kind of situation. And so what I had to learn, and what I would suggest that you begin to also embrace, is failure. Okay. Now, I don't mean we quit and we're done and it was a complete catastrophe. That's not the type of failure I'm talking about. I'm talking about the mental conditioning that you have to learn to overcome through the adversities of doing things in a repetitive manner that may not work at first, but then begin to get easier and easier as you do them. Just like when you were a little kid, when you had to tie your shoes, you couldn't get it done, right? You tried and tried and tried and you couldn't do it, and you get frustrated and you chuck your shoe across the room if you were like me when you were little. But then eventually you took the patience and so on. It's the same thing with dribbling a basketball. I guarantee you the first time Jordan ever touched a basketball, it probably bounced off his foot and rolled through the parking lot. Okay. And then because he studied his craft. He has a saying, I think he says something like, I've taken, over 1,000 shots or something like his, I can't remember. I'm going to destroy this quote, but it's something along the lines of, I've been given the game-winning shot like 300 times and, missed. I have, done such and such and missed, but that's why I succeed. Something along those lines. Look it up. It's a great quote, and I apologize for butchering. But anyhow, what I want to talk to you about is the fact that if you start to learn to embrace the process, outcomes happen. Okay, actually, let me deviate on this one, because this is one of my favorite training topics that I've been really jumping on board with to try to help people understand that there's success available for them if they just stay with it. And this has to do with every aspect of getting success in business. Okay, whether it's my daily method of operation where I know that if I do XYZ, I'm going to get XYZ result. But I say you have to learn to become process focused and not outcome focused, because it's the process, which is kind of like the recipe, that gets you the outcome. And what I've seen, and it's through personal experience, that if I start to learn the process and I understand what those steps are, because I've read them, I've watched them, I've modeled them now, I've seen people do them in action, and I've learned what their recipe of success was, and I began to model it. And again, going back to what I just said about embracing the failures, to learn how to do push-ups, to learn how to get excited about something, to learn how to do it in repetition to the point that you become good at it, to where you become great at it, to where you become something that you master, which that's kind of what you have to do. Okay. So going back to the beginning of this is, you have to take the time to learn the success principles that are probably being done by the people that you want to be like, right? And again, I just posted this on my TikTok thing, a video I did from a conference, just a quick clip. It said that one of the best things that was ever taught to me was never take financial advice from somebody you don't want to be financially. And again, that's the same thing as if you're not paying my bills, you're not going to give me a lot of advice a lot of times if you're not in the space or higher than what I want to get to. Okay, so that's something real important, is you want to make sure that you are only being mentored by the right people. Now, I'm going to deviate here again. You'll notice when I talk a lot of times, these are rabbit trails, but I think they all kind of connect. One of the things I also have trained on before, and I'm not going to do a ton of it on this podcast, but it's chasing mentorship over money. this is a big one. We're going to take a second on this one, because this kind of encapsulates what I'm talking to you about right now. Is a lot of people chase the money. They see the big dollar signs and so on, and that's their pursuit, thinking that I joined a company, I got into a business, I went to 5 meetings, and then they don't understand, they're not getting any success, because just because you're in something doesn't mean you're going to become successful at it, right? It doesn't, just because I walk into the gym doesn't mean I'm going to get in shape. I have to apply it. But back to the chasing mentorship. What I learned to do, and again, this is just a phrase that I came up with that I think will help you to remember this, is I started to seek out mentors, people that I wanted to model, right? And what I did is I then would just ask question after question after question after question, not wasting their time, but some specific things. A lot of it was character development stuff I was curious about. A lot of it was, what did they do in the hard times? Because that's where you're going to see more hard times a lot of times than you are good times. And then what I did was the money then started to come because of the mentorship. Because if I go way back here, I've got the mentorship starting to happen. So I'm chasing the right people that I want to emulate and be like. That is now leading me to the daily method of operation, the principles, the process of getting the right things that I need to do to dial in my craft and my specific niche, which to me was like recruiting, team building, that kind of thing. It's what I still do today. And then the money happened. A lot of people in today's day and age, obviously we all want to be TikTok stars. We want the quantum success. We want to be overnight millionaires. That's why people play the lotto. People play the lottery because they want millions of dollars without the effort to get to it. And that's why it's the greatest scheme on the planet, in my opinion, because you can, for $1, you can keep your dreams alive of being rich without having to do the work for it. But anyhow, what I would suggest that you do is take the time to think about what you're in or what you're doing or what you're pursuing, whether it's networking or any other thing that you're out there doing. Identify maybe 5 to 10 mentors, people that you would like to emulate, that you see their success, you like their character, you like what type of person they are, how they represent themselves, and then pursue what got them to that position. Okay, because it can be duplicated, right? It says in the Bible, it says God's no respecter of persons. Okay, God's no respecter of persons. Excuse me, I had to get a cup of coffee there. And if that's the case, then that means that there's not God doesn't have you on a little checklist of stingy board. It says he's no respecter of persons, meaning everybody's got an equal playing field. Here's some rules to follow by that he's laid out. But you got to pursue some of those things. You got to get the ball rolling. So when you identify those 5 to 10 mentors, start asking them questions, find out what they're reading, find out what they're watching, find out what their focuses are, what they do on the weekends, what their hobbies are, things like that, stuff that you might not, and then as you do that, see where it fits with you, what resonates with you, what of those things that they've told you that you can immediately apply. Because now if you start to immediately apply that, let's say Larry, who's a 7-figure earner in XYZ company, is just crushing it. He's got a huge group. Every time he does an event, the room is packed. How did he get there? It wasn't by accident. You have to start figuring out what he did, right? How he became what he became. And by asking him those questions in detail, and peel that onion back, continue to peel that onion back, build that relationship, then begin to apply what Larry just taught you in repetition. Continue to do it, continue to read the books he's recommended, the top 5, the top 10, whatever, and you start to apply it in your own life. Guess what's going to naturally happen? You're going to start to get the outcomes are going to begin to be something that you're going to have due to the fact that you have taken the time to go through the recipe, the process, and so on. So I didn't want to take super long in this. This was just something that popped into my head that I wanted to throw a podcast together for, a video. You can check me out anywhere. I'm all over the place on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Just look for Mike Healy or Mike Big Guns. You'll see that's kind of my nickname. My wife still calls me Guns to this day because I got big arms. I got the nickname in the bar business, but that's beyond. But if you ever wondered, that's where it came from. And what I would tell you is that it's not too late for you. You can go out there and be as successful as you choose to be if you just go apply yourself. There's no limit, and there's plenty for everybody. Okay, there's plenty for everybody, but you have to take the time to be diligent to go through the process to get the outcome. Just understand that there's a process. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace that conflict. Embrace that conflict. Embrace the fact that you're going to have these small failures over a period of time. But it's just like, if I can do 5 push-ups, my goal is to do 50 push-ups in a row. First time I try it, I might be able to get 5. The next time, I still might be able to get 5. Next time, hey, guess what? I popped a 6th. The next time, I only got 6. Next time I was sore and I only got 4, right? And then the next time I got 7 because I took a couple days off of rest and I recovered my muscles. But you get the idea, right? Take the time to embrace the process, learn what it takes, find out, chase mentors over money. Embrace the conflict of going from stage 1, stage 2, and so on. And I'm telling you, you're going to have a great, great future. So thanks for checking me out. Hopefully you got something out of this, a little tidbit. And check me out, MLM Podcast. The MLM Mastermind Podcast is on Spotify, iTunes, and so on. You can check me out there. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to wherever you see this, because I'm going to continue to put out good content. A lot of people have given me great compliments on the stuff I put out. But again, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm sure I got a couple nuggets that you can glean from and learn from. So anyhow, thanks for being on here, and I will see you at the top.